After this turbulent week, Prime Minister Hassan Diab has just gone to see President Michel Aoun to tender the resignation of this government because of what happened at the port, because of this explosion, which Lebanese blame on the political elite. This is what he said.
نحن اليوم نحتكم إلى الناس.
Today we follow the will of the people to hold accountable those responsible for this disaster that has been in hiding for 7 years, and their desire for real change from the corrupt, destructive state.
The Prime Minister said he had thought that corruption was in the sinews of the state, but he had discovered that it was bigger than the state. And therein lies the problem. He will stay on as a caretaker Prime Minister. And the way things work in this country is that power is divvied up between these different religious factions, Maronite Christians, Shias, represented by Hezbollah and Amal, Sunnis, and they're going to work out who's going to be the next government. You don't automatically go to elections. So many people see this just as, well, you know, what difference does it make? It's not changing the system. The government has gone. The system remains the same. Now, what the Prime Minister has said, that as caretaker, he will do his best to get rid of the corruption, to bring real reform. But that was what he was supposed to do in all the time he's been in office. In office, not in power, because there are parallel structures in Lebanon. There are structures which hold real power, and it's not always the ministries and the government that do that. That's what makes this so complicated. And the people who are crying out for real change are now divided on what to do next. When it became clear that one way or another the government would go, people gathered near Parliament, but not in celebration. Governments rise and fall in Lebanon, but the system stays the same.
It's the first step, but I think there's so many other external factors that unless we address those, then a government resigning is only going to reinstill the corruption.
Because if we will do any elections right now, we will follow the old rules and system that already they applied, related to religions and sects, and we are not allowing this to happen again.
Last Thursday, the Justice Minister was met by an angry crowd when she toured a suburb damaged by the blast.
I want the truth and the full truth.
She was the third minister to resign today, and more followed. Violent protests over the weekend increased the pressure. International donors had already said they wouldn't channel aid through this government. The port explosion added fuel to an already smouldering fire of discontent. But some believe a new system can now rise from the ruins.
This is my building, this is my house at the end.
This is your house. So which one is yours, on the top floor?
On the roof. I don't have a home. I don't have an office. I don't have a car. 3 from our friends were dead.
I'm so sorry.
What do we have?
Oh. Take it slowly, don't hurt your knee. Climbing the stairs is painful because Maroun Karam was struck by a tear gas canister while protesting at the weekend. His neighbour has returned to survey the damage. She's reliving the moment of the explosion.
I didn't even turn back. It's like a Hiroshima. It come first one. The second one, I said, oh my God, what's happening? I'm turning, it's that explosion comes, and it put me down.
So this is Beirut port.
Hard to imagine that a week ago they looked out over a view of bars and restaurants, solid apartment blocks, and a working port. Back on the street, there are signs everywhere of the relief effort Maroun and his friends have mounted, entirely independent of government, as part of their protest, what they call the revolution. He thinks that those who want wholesale political change should nonetheless stand in the next election.
So the revolution is here in their mind, and we are working to reach the mindset of the people where when we go to the election, and I believe in this, once we will have an elections, and it's our priority now, because we want them all to leave.
I can see that you might get some seats in Beirut. the people here, certainly people who've lost their homes, might vote for you. But in the south, in, you know, small villages, is anybody going to vote for you?
Yes, I will tell you why. As well, during the revolution, everywhere in Lebanon, people went to the street and say, we don't need you, we don't want you. We need the basics of what we are in. We need the basics to live.
For some, it's too late. 23-year-old Jessica Bedjan was one of 4 nurses killed by the explosion as it hit St. George's Hospital. To those who loved her, no resignations could ever be enough. They want justice, real change, an end to the incompetence and corruption that led them here.
The one that I have to blame, they know themselves very well. These chemicals were in the middle of the city, and they were ignoring it. Or they had some interest while keeping it there.
The wreckage of the country's main grain silo looms over the city like the spectre of Lebanon's civil war. Fighting stopped when the religious factions agreed to share power. But 30 years later, it's that system which has destroyed the peace.
Well, joining us now from Lebanon is Nadim Jamail, a former member of the Lebanese parliament for the Khatib party, who submitted his official resignation earlier today. He's the son of former Lebanese President-elect Bashir Jamail, who was himself assassinated in 1982. Nadim Jamail, thanks for joining us. What's your reaction to the Prime Minister's resignation and that of the government?
Frankly speaking, the resignation today of the Prime Minister doesn't advance anything, and his present or his unpresence is exactly the same, since, as your journalist said it earlier before, there is a parallel structure here in Lebanon who govern everything, and this parallel structure is the arms and the power of Hezbollah that controls everything, from the presidency until the parliament. And frankly speaking,
you say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're saying also that Hezbollah have access to the port. We thought the port was beyond use, and how then is Hezbollah already knocking around there?
No, Hezbollah has access to mainly all the main access point of the country, the borders, the airport, the port, and has access to the main services of the country, like the telecom and more also. And he has a major influence in there and has a major interest in the port. And we know very well that the fertilizer that they were talking about, the nitrate of ammonium, where a lot of the Lebanese believe that the quantity that was stocked there was exactly at the beginning 2,700 tons. However, a lot believe that what really exploded was less than 2,700, and that means that it has been used by someone. And a lot believe that these quantity were used by Hezbollah, and Hezbollah had a personal interest in having this nitrate present in the port, and he's been using it all around. He used it. We know that a cell of Hezbollah have been caught in Cyprus, Germany, London, with nitrate of ammonium.
Right.
So,
but let me ask you this, Mr. Jamal. The problem, surely, is that in Lebanon, it is a fact that Hezbollah have quite a lot of support. How are they to be removed?
Exactly, and this was going to be my second point. Today we have resigned as member of Khatib party, and we are calling all our colleagues who really believe in the sovereignty of Lebanon, who believe in the independence of Lebanon, who believe that today Iran is controlling a major party of the country. We are calling all of these people and all of our colleagues to resign in order to remove the umbrella and to remove the cover that all these institutions have been giving to the Hezbollah. Today, the President Aoun,
well, let me ask you this then, Mr. Jamal.
Yes.
Mr. Jamal, let me just ask you this then. Where is the power that can in any way overrule the terrorists, if you like to put it that way, and run this as a civil state? Is it even possible?
I didn't get well your question. What is the part?
Where is the power going to come from in Lebanon to get past Hezbollah and run Lebanon as a civil country?
Look, today Lebanon is governed by a deep state. This deep state is an alliance between some of the Christian with Hezbollah. This Christian provide a full cover to Hezbollah's activity. In counterpart, Hezbollah provides these people a certain position in the states. And in addition to this, you have a lot of significant deals that is being made between Hezbollah and all the other parties in order to provide them with a promise that they will become president further on, that they will become prime ministers further on, etc. In counterpart, they are providing him a cover. So today what we're saying is that we are calling to this deep state to collapse